Out on the open water beside a small fishing boat, the sea suddenly erupts as a whale breaches without warning. Early in the morning off the New Hampshire coast, a small center console boat drifts quietly nearby, while a group watches the surface for signs of bait fish. The ocean seems still, but below them, a massive whale is rising fast, drawn by schooling fish near the surface. Suddenly, the whale breaches directly beneath the small boat, its momentum lifting the vessel upward and pushing it sideways. The hull tips, gear shifts, and the vessel is pushed sideways by the force of the breach, leaving it overturned in seconds. Never ever remain stationary near active feeding zones where large marine animals may surface unexpectedly. Inside a steel fabrication yard at dusk, a massive overhead load begins to sway above the walkway without anyone noticing below. It's early evening in a large industrial yard where bundles of long steel sections are stacked in rows. Overhead, cranes glide along their tracks, repositioning heavy materials as crews finish their shift. A worker walks beneath the gantry area, unaware that a suspended bundle is being shifted across the path. As the crane operator slews the load, the suspended steel bundle swings off alignment. The horizontal motion creates lateral momentum, causing the bundle to drift beyond the intended travel lane. The load crosses into the walkway zone, striking the ground with force as it descends. A swinging suspended load creates an unpredictable impact zone. Do ensure all personnel remain clear of crane travel paths and don't move beneath any overhead lift, even momentarily. On the edge of a loaded truck, a single lift of lumber suddenly shifts the worker's balance and sends everything backward. A flatbed truck is packed with long wooden boards, stacked loosely and extending far past the side rails. The worker stands right at the narrow, unstable edge of the load, using his hands to reposition a heavy board, while the rest of the stack remains unsecured. As he lifts the long piece of lumber, the weight shifts backward instead of rising smoothly. The sudden rearward force causes destabilization and causes tipping over the edge. With no firm footing, the platform surface drops out of alignment as the lumber tilts and descends. Never, ever lift or adjust heavy material while standing on an unstable edge of an unsecured load. Unbalanced footing plus a backward pull creates instant loss of control. Secure the load and stabilize your stance before lifting. Inside a busy fabrication hall, a forklift rolls forward with a long steel pipe. Then, without warning, the truck erupts into a wall of flame. A long pipe is suspended from the forklift, stretching well beyond the front of the truck. Nearby, workers handle materials and walk across the open floor. The forklift itself carries fuel, hydraulic oil, electrical wiring, and hot components around the engine and mast, all operating in the same open area as other flammable items and packaging. There's no collision or visible spark from the load. As the forklift continues moving, flames appear around the truck's front end and begin spreading across its components. An unseen fault, such as a leaking line or an electrical short, finds enough heat and vapor to ignite, allowing flames to propagate rapidly through the machine. A forklift is a rolling ignition source. Do treat every unit as a potential fire hazard by checking for leaks, damaged hoses, electrical faults, and nearby combustibles before and during use. In a crowded fabrication bay, a hidden stored energy hazard snaps loose without warning. Two workers stand over a large blue assembly fixture, adjusting and aligning parts. The setup includes tensioned components and mechanical clamps that have been cycled repeatedly during the shift. Both workers are close to the mechanism, hands inside the work zone, faces just above the assembly line. As one worker makes a final adjustment, a loaded component suddenly releases its stored force. A metal piece springs outward at high speed, projecting into the work zone and striking the hard hat. The unexpected release causes the assembly to jolt sharply, shifting the surrounding components and destabilizing the work area. The sudden motion forces both workers to regain their foot. Never, ever place your body in the line of fire of tensioned or spring-loaded components during adjustment or maintenance. Inspect, de-energize, and secure every stored energy part before reaching in. PPE is a last line of defense, never the plan. At a packaging station, a powered strapping machine suddenly pulls tight while a worker is leaning over the strap path. A worker stands in front of a strapping arch, a rectangular steel frame where straps feed automatically around a box or bundle. He's preparing material on the table, leaning forward with his hands near the strap channel. The machine is active, and the tensioning line is in position, ready to cycle as soon as it detects input. As the worker leans farther across the table, the machine detects input and feeds a strap unexpectedly. The tension line tightens instantly, accelerating through the strap channel with high pull force. The sudden cycle drives the strap downward and shifts the surrounding material across the table surface, causing the active tension zone to move abruptly toward the work area. A strapping machine's tension cycle creates an immediate pull force hazard. Don't lean into the strap path, and do keep hands and body completely clear before triggering or resetting the machine. High above a busy Louisiana intersection, a bucket lift worker is blindsided when a semi-truck passes directly beneath the lift arm without clearance. A maintenance crew is servicing overhead traffic signals on a multi-lane roadway. One worker is elevated in a bucket, aligned with the signal mast arm. Another worker stands below, guiding traffic around the work zone with cones and hand signals. Vehicles continue through the intersection, and a tractor trailer approaches in the far lane, its height nearly matching the bottom of the bucket platform. The semi-truck passes under the mast arm but clips the underside of the elevated bucket. The contact forces the bucket platform upward and shifts the lift assembly backward along its pivot points. The unexpected movement transfers a jolt through the boom structure, causing the entire lift system to rebound and redirect as the truck continues forward. Never, ever position an elevated bucket within the travel path of tall vehicles. If traffic isn't fully controlled, the lift is not in a safe zone. At the rear of a gas delivery truck, a worker's quick shortcut sends a heavy cylinder flying straight back toward him. A worker stands behind a red transport truck loaded with rows of gas cylinders. Instead of lifting them from the platform level, he chooses a faster method, tossing each cylinder upward from the ground to the top of the stack. The cylinders are metal, rounded, and capable of unpredictable rebound when they strike a hard surface. The truck's upper edge is rigid, creating a perfect impact point for any misaligned throw. The first toss lands cleanly, but the second strikes the top rail instead of clearing it. The cylinder rebounds off the metal edge, its rounded shape redirecting the motion instantly. The collision sends it back along the same path with amplified speed, dropping toward the ground in front of the stack as gravity and rebound force take over. A gas cylinder becomes a high-energy projectile when dropped or thrown. Don't hurl cylinders upward from ground level, and do use controlled lifting methods that keep the load stable. In the middle of a busy roadway, a passing truck suddenly clips the extended boom of a roadside crane and sends the whole structure jolting sideways. Road work is underway along the edge of a multi-lane street. A crane or boom-equipped service vehicle is parked close to traffic, with its boom extended across part of the adjacent lane. Nearby, cars continue moving, and a large box truck approaches in the lane closest to the boom. The setup offers almost no lateral buffer. Any miscalculation in vehicle path or boom placement brings metal into metal. As the truck moves through, its side panel contacts the boom. The collision shifts the boom out of its stable alignment, causing the upper structure to sway as the load path redistributes through the lift assembly. Never, ever position an extended boom within the active sweep of live traffic. If a lane isn't fully isolated, the boom must not enter it. Traffic is an uncontrolled energy source. Even a slight deviation in a vehicle's path can transfer massive force into parked equipment. Separate the workspace completely before extending any arm or boom. On a busy production line, a forklift backs out from a rack. Then a sudden lift sends the entire load crashing sideways. The operator has just delivered a tall, stacked frame to the workstation. He begins to reverse the forks out from under the load so he can leave the area. In front of the rack, another worker continues his task, assuming the load is parked and stable. As the forklift backs away, the forks aren't fully clear of the frame. The operator raises the mast thinking he's free, but the fork tips remain hooked under the lower edge. The upward motion shifts the rack out of alignment, causing the structure to destabilize and tip away from its original position. A load that is still engaged by the forks becomes a pullover hazard. Don't lift or tilt until the forks are completely clear, and do confirm visual and physical separation before moving away. One rushed lift at the wrong moment turned a parked rack into a falling obstacle. Always fully disengage, verify clearance, and only then raise or travel with the forklift. Don't forget to share what you learned today in the comments. Your insight could save a life. Take care.